Hello and welcome to another episode of Your Higher Self. I am Océane and today I'm joined with Sari and we're going to talk about traveling and how to make an income while traveling. So hello Sari and welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Sari. I'm currently living in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and I'm really passionate talking about how to make money traveling because it's something I've been doing for probably about 3 or 4 years now,
Oh, a
on
long
and
time.
off. Yeah, been living in Bali. Prior to that, I was living in South America. Now I'm back in Australia, but I've just literally traveled across the country in a caravan with my partner and son. So, yeah, I'm super keen to talk about this, especially from my kind of perspective. I do wealth coaching for spiritual entrepreneurs and queer people. So, I feel like it's going to be a very juicy topic for us.
Yeah, I was going to say you literally have a business in making money.
Yeah.
So I feel like
Yeah.
this is the most perfect topic for you because
Yeah.
you're literally teaching people how to make money and you're traveling.
Mm,
And it's literally the question that I get asked the most on Instagram.
mm,
No one has any idea how to start making money and be able to
mm.
travel. So at the moment, you're living in a caravan, right?
We just moved out of the caravan, actually. We're in a little apartment at the moment, and we've decided to set some roots down in Queensland for a bit. So we've just rented a house that we'll be moving into in a couple of weeks. But yeah, we got out of the caravan a couple of weeks ago and we're in there for 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. And how was that with
Mm,
because your business is online, right?
yeah. Yeah.
How was that with keeping up with the schedule and the timing and making sure technology works? Because that's
Yeah.
always my biggest issue.
Oh man, tell me about it. Yeah. I mean, we had some interesting times. Like, it definitely challenged me. I feel like the biggest thing was we decided to travel after I had launched the current round of my group like program Aura, which at the time was a one-on-one program. So I was working with maybe 10, sometimes 12 one-on-one clients a week. And obviously I need, a quiet space. So every time I had to work, my family had to leave the caravan. And as soon as we got in New South Wales, it was just like bucketing down rain every day. So we definitely was definitely, navigating kind of the challenges of like what to do, where to work from, making sure, yeah, we had internet. We got an iPad and put a Telstra SIM card in it so that we can make sure that we had internet. But even there were times when I'd have that, I'll be like sitting right outside next to the Wi-Fi, and then the Wi-Fi would cut out and I'd be like, oh no, sorry, clients. But like for the most part, it was pretty chill, which, has been my experience the last few years, especially Bali, surprisingly, has got like my favorite internet. So fast.
So you were in
So
Bali.
yeah, I was living in Bali from about 2018. And then I only just came back to Australia sort of when COVID hit in 2020. So yeah, I mean, working there, same thing, just working online. I'd work in cafes and stuff. I didn't have as many coaching clients then. I was doing a few other things like web design, graphic design, and that sort of stuff. But I would just work from cafes and, they've always got internet. So it's pretty fun. Like, I love it because it's flexible. So it's like, even when we're in the caravan, it's like, cool, we would just structure our week. Like, when does Sari have clients? Okay, we'll drive to the new place on this day when there's no clients, or we'll have a family adventure on this day when I'm not working. So it worked pretty well. Like, I love kind of the flexibility, or even a few times just being like, oh, actually, can I just move you guys, like, to my clients? Do you mind if I just move you to a different day? Because we've got to drive for 2 full days here. So flexibility is
Wow. And it's
definitely
so good that the
a
clients
perk.
also are very understanding of that.
Yeah, right. Totally. And
And
that's the
even
thing, because like, oh,
I was
sorry,
gonna
go.
say, even trying to organize this today, we were trying to like
Yeah.
find a perfect time for each other.
Yep.
And then yesterday I was sick and we managed to
Yep.
like make it flexible for today. So
Yeah.
even that, it's a blessing.
Oh, I know, right? So good. Yeah, yeah.
I think I cut you off by accident. What were you gonna
That's
say?
okay.
Oh,
No, just kind of more, yeah, about like the flexibility, even when you are like on the move or whatever. But for me, it's like my intention, especially when I'm filling out my programs, is always my like desire is to call in soulmate clients. And so for me, one of the aspects of a soulmate client is that, yeah, they'll understand like a family dynamic, and that there might be times, hopefully not very often at all, but there might be times when I might need to reschedule because we've got some kind of family thing happening, or whatever it is. So I definitely was really stoked that all of my clients were just super chill with that. Like, no worries, like all
Oh,
good.
that sounds
And
so
often it works
great.
out that like when you message them, like I always find that I'll message my clients. I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, like there was one week where I hadn't slept pretty much for a week because our toddler was going through a sleep regression. And so he was just pretty much awake all night, really. And I'd tried sleeping everywhere. So this is when we're in the caravan. I tried sleeping on the floor of the caravan, in the car, outside the caravan, on literally the mat with a blanket. But then there were mozzies buzzing around my head. So I was just like so sleep deprived. And so I messaged my clients. I was like, guys, I can't even think straight. Like, can we please just have a week break? And everyone was like, oh, I'm actually so glad that you asked that, because I really feel like I want to have a week break to integrate all of the work that we've done so far. And I swear that every time I ever message a client to say, hey, would you be able to reschedule? They're always just like, oh my goodness, I was actually about to ask you that. So kind of quite synchronistic like that.
The universe works in wonderful ways.
Right.
Now you're making me so excited because I'm
Yeah.
going into the flow of starting an online business very soon, my
Ooh.
therapy business, because I've also been traveling nonstop and making money, but it hasn't been online. So that's why I think
Yeah.
it's really interesting that you're already there. I'm going to get there, but then I was doing all kinds of
Cool.
different jobs while traveling. So I
Yes.
want to know, how did you start getting into traveling and making money? Where was
Oh,
a real start?
I feel like the real start was like the kind of the thing that made me realize that it was possible and it was exactly what I desired would have been 10 years ago. So when I was 19, I joined like a multi-level marketing, you know, thing where they like basically teach you how to make money online, and you sell positions to, like, you know, anyone listening who's done network marketing or multi-level marketing, you know, you sell them into the program or into the system, and then that's how you earn your commission. So my mum was doing it, and then I signed up to doing it, and like met a whole bunch of really cool people who were making good money. I didn't really make much money. Like I didn't even make kind of my initial investment back. But it just really sparked me, like looking at these people who, some of them were multimillionaires, you know, literally just posting videos on YouTube back in the day then, you know, more so than Instagram, and making all this money and traveling. And I was just like, huh, that's cool. Like, that's really cool. Cause I never wanted to work 9 to 5. And like, even to this day, I've never actually had like a job. I've never been like full-time employed or anything, because I've always been kind of that entrepreneurial, work for myself or hustle here, or what can I do? What kind of contract here, or set myself up or something there. So that really sparked it. And I tried that for a bit, and then I was like, not really having much success, kind of got a bit negged out, ended up working a commission only sales job in Perth, did like phenomenally at that. It was just really, really good at it, made so much commission, was like the top sales agent in Australia, won all these awards, eventually opened my own sales and marketing company. And I was like, this is it. I made it. Now I've got all my own staff. They go and make sales.
How old were you then?
23.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I did that for a few years, but then eventually that was, you know, doing fundraising. So like, I don't know if you've seen like face-to-face fundraising, where the fundraisers will sign you up for like a $30 a month to donate to whatever charity.
Oh, yeah, I know those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that probably in total for about 3 or 4 years, maybe 2 years of which was running my own company. But that was like, there was kind of the combination of that, which gave me like all this confidence with like communication skills and like how to sell and talk to people. But always burning in the back of my mind was like, this is great and I can make so much money doing this, but I really want to be traveling and I really want to be helping people. Like, I didn't know how, I just knew I want to help people on kind of like a deeper soul level, I guess. And at the time, kind of fast forward to 2017, so I would have been, say, 25, I guess, I actually ended up having a mental breakdown because I was so stressed. I used to drink a lot. I would smoke weed, just like not really coping. My mental health was really bad. I had this mental breakdown. But then from that point, that kind of low point, I was like, nah, this is not it. Like, my soul is trying to talk to me. Like, what I'm doing is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And so I just shut my company down, let go of all of my staff. It was really scary. It was like super edgy, right? And like packed up my house, ended the lease, and was like, that's it. I'm just going to go to Bali for 2 weeks. And while I'm in Bali, I'm going to find out what the next step is, which is what I teach my clients now. Like, you don't have to know 10 steps, 100 steps in front of you. Just find out your one next step. And so I went to Bali, and while I was there, I was scrolling Instagram, and one of my friends had done a yoga teacher training. And I was looking at that and I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. That sounds really epic. And I'd never been into spiritual stuff or anything like that. Never done yoga. I had a background in dance. Like before I had my, fundraising whole, that kind of thing, I did ballet training quite seriously.
Really?
So, yeah. So
Oh my
I
God, you
was
were
a
a
little ballerina.
ballerina.
Yeah. So I kind of had that, like, like I loved moving my body. I loved stretching. Like I knew it was something that could be really fun. But I was just like, well, this feels really weird. But when you just get that like soul pull of like, this is what you have to do. And so that's where it started for me. So I did my yoga teacher training. And then I got introduced to the world of Tantra and started doing all of this like emotional release and learned like kinesiology. Then I moved to Bali and became a yoga teacher there. And I was like, this is great. Now I live in Bali and I teach yoga, but I was still like, this is still not it. Like I still want to be location free, because like if I left Bali, that's it. No yoga job, right? And so while I was there teaching yoga, I was like, oh, I'm going to start some kind of online business. And I was surrounded by people who did that. And yeah, I just kept taking the next steps and like, oh, I'm going to do this training here. I'm going to work with this person here. I'm going to post on my Instagram about offering, one-on-one coaching or whatever it is. And at first it was really hard because nobody was signing up. Nobody was even knew who I was. I didn't know what I was. I changed what I did about 50 times, like now I'm going to do life coaching, or now I'm going to do health coaching, and like, oh, now I'll do some like websites for spiritual entrepreneurs. And it just kind of all got me closer until literally the beginning of last year. I was like, I feel like I'm meant to be doing wealth coaching, because I'd been kind of doing a lot of my own wealth work. And yeah, I just started posting about it on my Instagram. And by that time I had like a bit of a following. People kind of knew who I was a little bit. Yeah, and then that's it. It just kind of took off, because it was like that thing that I was meant to be doing.
Did I
But it's
start
like if I
following you at
hadn't,
the start of your business then? Of that one business?
maybe, I can't remember when we
Oh,
started following each other.
then it means I started seeing all of your growth. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, you've done so good now. You're like thriving.
Right. And it's crazy. Something I've been talking, like you would have seen, on my Instagram lately, I've been talking about a lot, is like, imagine if you just decide that in the next 12 months, you're going to give it everything you've got and just don't give up. Because the thing for me was I would like burn myself out. I would hustle, 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 try really hard at this idea, and then it wouldn't work immediately. And I'd be like, oh, I'd give up. Like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, something else. And I'd like hustle, hustle, hustle. No, it wouldn't work. But it's like actually what changed things for me was just being consistent and being like, nah, this is actually what I really feel called to do. I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to do everything, whether it's marketing my offerings, working with coaches myself, investing money and time and energy into my business. And when I did that, as well as focusing on my self-care and making sure that I was really taking care of like my mental health, my physical body, that was when everything just literally took off.
Oh, wow. And I heard also, I think, two different things that you said, which actually it completely, I don't know how to say that word. It completely like debunks the whole stereotypes that I see all the time with people traveling. Literally the other day, I saw a TikTok of a 20-year-old traveling the world, and he was sharing his experiences. And most of the comments were negative, saying that he had rich parents, that they were all paying his rent while he was away, and just comments like that. And I was like, well, actually, you completely ended your lease and you started traveling. And that was the same with me. I never actually had a lease ever. I was always just traveling. Yeah, I never had a lease.
Yeah.
So I always avoided that. And I think there is like a lot of people are not aware of the freedom that there is out there. So for example, how I started my journey, I'm trying to think of how long ago. That's the other point. I also had a mental breakdown, and that's when I went, you know what? Fuck it. Fuck it. I was at university. I was broke. I had no money or anything. And I went, you know what? I'm giving up on everything, and I'm going to live it. So I think I had $500 to my name. That's the most money I had, and that's the money that I had saved because I didn't have a job. So that was saved money. And I went to Thailand for 16 days and I loved it so much that I've tried to do everything to travel. So I would get jobs all around Australia, working as a bartender, working 17 to 20-hour days. And I would get to visit Australia, but I would save big amounts so I could travel for a few months, come back, do that.
Perfect.
Then I ended up going into, I love performing. So I started doing performances and getting booked, getting contract books. And I was even doing that in Guam. So I also went to Guam and I did some shows over there. And so when I did that, I was getting my food and accommodation paid for. So it was actually great because I was making an income. I was having free accommodation, free food, or if I was paying for accommodation, it was like $100 a week, which was quite affordable for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I started traveling, just finding ways, investing money, like every single thing that I save, I just invest, trying to do any little things to try to get money. Like recently, I realized that I don't need belongings. So I looked at everything in my room, everything that I own, and I'm like, what can I get rid? And sold everything. And in a week, I made a grand just doing that.
So cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's literally so many ways that you can just go out there and make money, whether or not it's doing bartending, shows, having an online business, investing, doing, some people do day trading as a way to travel.
Yeah, I tried a bit of that actually.
You did?
Yeah. It's a bit draining for me.
Like, that.
What do you invest in now? I was going to ask you that.
Oh, investing? Well, I don't want to admit right now it's crypto.
Me too. It's all right.
That's why you do not invest anything that you don't want to lose.
That's what I say to everybody. Like, it was interesting. I was talking to somebody recently and they're like, oh no, are you so devastated about your crypto? And I was like, not really, because I didn't invest anything that I wasn't willing to lose. And, you know, the crypto game, depending obviously how you want to trade, just like any kind of investment, like stocks or shares, it's like, if you're playing the long game and stuff like this happens, it's like, actually, like I'm going to do some research soon about buying more. Cause I'm like, this is the perfect time, like buy the low. And then, you know, who knows how long, 6 months, 12 months, a couple of years, we're going to be the ones like sitting on top because it'll go inevitably back up. As long as you don't sell in a low, then you don't actually lose your money, you know?
Yeah. So right now that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the long term. So I'm not worried. I'm also like you. I'm like, this is a great time to buy some more.
Yeah.
But I want to start doing day trading for sure. Just because I realized I don't want to put a time for my money.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean, I've already got my essential healer business and that one's going great. But then also it is physical items and I don't want it to be physical items. Obviously, I'm still going to have that business, but you know, we love having multiple ways.
Multiple streams of income are where it's at. And it's interesting because I actually hear a lot of wealth coaches talk about why that is actually not the best way anymore. And I think it's interesting because I feel like it depends on your personality type. I know for myself personally, if I only have one thing that makes money, I tend to fixate and I tend to put all of my like kind of like pressure energy on it. Like if I'm in a launch for a program and I've got nothing else happening at the time, I can get a little bit like antsy about it and a bit like, oh, why hasn't anybody signed up yet? And it's like, it's been 2 days, literally, you know, for example. Whereas if I have kind of multiple things, like I do photography as well. So it's like, cool, I could like at the moment, actually, I've got my program Aurum that I'm launching. We've got 2 months until that starts. So it's like, cool, I can be signing people up to that, but I can also be selling photo shoots. And my fiance and I are literally in the process of creating a products brand as well, where we're going to be selling products based on art that she's created. So it's like, we're going to have these kind of different avenues as well. And I think it's super important, especially with, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, is having a kind of creative thing that's fun. And it doesn't have to make you money, but often you can monetize it, as well as the kind of more, I guess, logical or hustling thing that you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. I